Sevens, welcome to your Wednesday math. Hope you guys have been enjoying the nice weather. It has definitely been a very roller coaster month because we had snow at the beginning of the month and now we have a heat warning. Doesn't make any sense at all, but here we are. So today we're doing our review as always, and then we're going into evaluating algebraic expressions, which in my opinion I think is a little bit easier than what we've been doing so far. And you'll see why in a minute. So first of all, we're going to do our review. So in our review, we're always trying to figure out what this letter of a problem represents. So the letter A. What does A equal? We need to figure that one out. So last time we were doing multiplication and division. When it comes to multiplication, you always do the opposite operation, which is division, to figure out what the answer is. We know for division, it can either be division or multiplication depending on where the variable is. If the variable is on top, if the letter is on top, so let's say if C was on top, that means we have to multiply. So top means multiply. And the bottom, you still have to divide. So let's do our first problem, which is 7 times something equals 28. We need to figure out what A is equal to. To do so, we do the opposite operation. So what I do is I leave my A on this side of the equal sign, and I take my 7 and I'm going to shove it over here. And when I do my multiplication and I shove it over, it becomes division. We do the opposite. So I do 28 divided by 7. All right, and that will give me whatever A is equal to. So 28 divided by 7 is 4. So I know A is equal to 4. How do I check to see if I'm correct? I do 7 times 4 equals 28. Is this true? Yes, it is. So I know I'm correct. Our next problem here is our division. So 54 divided by something is equal to 6. How do I figure out what that something is? Remember, if our variable is on the bottom, we divide. If it's on top, we multiply. In this case, our variable is on the bottom. C is on the bottom. What we do is we take 6 and we take C and we switch places. So it becomes 54 divided by 6 equals C. So we just switch the places of 6 and C. So now that's a lot easier to figure out. So 54 divided by 6 is equal to whatever C is. So 54 divided by 6 is equal to, if I type that into a calculator or if I use my multiplication tables or whatever, 54 divided by 6 is equal to 9. So I know C equals 9. Now I just punch that into my original problem. So I do 54 divided by 9 is equal to 6. I make sure that this is true. If it is, I'm good and I've done it correctly. All right, now we're going into our next spot. This is a little bit different. So what we've been doing is it's like 5 times something equals 25. 5 times this equals 35. What we're doing now is we're trying to find the answer of whatever 5 times something is. However, we can't just figure out the answer because A could mean anything. A could be worth 1, it could be worth 20, it could be worth 3 million. That can change value. This time, our value is given to us. A is equal to 7 in this case. So how you figure out these problems is very simple. All you do is take 5, and we know A is equal to 7. We know that 5A is a multiplication problem. It just doesn't have a multiplication symbol there. So we just do 5 times, because we put in our multiplication symbol in, times 7. So what we're doing is we're basically plugging in our number and we're figuring what the answer is. And that's all it is. So 5a, we know a is equal to 7, so I put 5 times 7 because I did 5, which is my original number, times because I know that 5a is a multiplication problem, and 7 because a is equal to 7. 5 times 7 is equal to, what's 5 times 7? It's 35. So my answer to this problem would be 35 when a is equal to 7. And that's all we're doing. So let's do a few more practice problems. In this case, we have 6b and b is equal to 9. So how we solve this is 6, we move that over, and 6b we know is a multiplication problem, so we put in our multiplication symbol, and then we punch in our number. So b, we know b is equal to 9. So I do 6 times 9. 6 times 9 is what? 6 groups of 9 is 54. So my answer to this question when b is equal to 9 is 54. All right. How can you check to see if these problems are correct? It's like what we were doing before to check if we're correct, except now we're doing the opposite. I do 5 times 5b is equal to 35. 35 divided by 5 is going to give me b. If b is equal to 7, or sorry, a, should be a here. If a is equal to 7, if I do this problem, is it correct? Is it true? If a does equal, in fact, equal 7, if I punch it in, then I know I'm correct. All right. Now, let's do our division. X divided by 3. What we're doing is we're trying to figure out what the answer to this problem is. X is given to us, which is 24. So what we do is we do 24, we plug in our number to where the x is, divided by 3. So now I just have to do the problem, 24 divided by 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So my answer to this problem is 8. And there we go. Now let's do our last one. This is not a 4, it's a y. So that's in fact a y, not a 4. All right, so I have 64 divided by y. We know y is equal to 8. So all I have to do is just plug in whatever that number is. So I do 64 divided by y is equal to 8. So I just put 8 in that space. 64 divided by 8 is 8. So my answer to this question is 8. And that's all it is. So that's what you're going to be doing today, is you're going to be given a bunch of problems, and it should be like 5 or 6 problems, and they're all going to have the same variable. So it's going to be like, evaluate the problems below when x is equal to 3. And all you're doing is just punching it into the next 6 questions, because they're all going to have x, and you just plug them in and you just do the question. So they should be mainly multiplication or division. And that's all we're going to be doing today. So you're just kind of plugging in your variables and answering the question when x is equal to 3, or x is equal to 7, or b is equal to 4, things like that. All right, so that's it for today. As always, email me if you have any questions whatsoever. Thank you guys for all the hard work you've been doing. You guys have been doing amazing. And I hope you're enjoying your week and you're having a good week. And otherwise, I will see you guys on Friday.